This is the daily review for the 22nd of April 2022, and this is gonna be a different video because I had a really bad day, and the trades were so bad that they don't meet any criteria for my playbook, so it doesn't really make sense to account for them. If they were legit attempts, they definitely have to go there, even if they were a little bit different. But these are so different that it just doesn't make sense. I removed my stop loss. I made an entry in a different area, but the good thing is that I can learn a lot about what I did, and that is gonna put me a step closer to avoid making the same kind of mistakes. So first, I was looking at Apple and UAL. It was a sell-off day, so everything was weak. So my opportunities to make an entry were limited, and it left me just with the option of taking a reversal long. And because I knew it was kind of a sell-off day, I started to make assumptions and I became very biased, and as a result, desperate to trade short. And you can see here. Well, I'm gonna start just reviewing some of the things I did. So I was looking at Apple, and I was gonna make this entry on the 1 minute right here at around 9:38, 39, 39, 38. Yeah, 9:38. Uh, I saw this rejection, and on the 1 minute, and then I saw a pullback, but we failed to gain any volume whatsoever for a push to R4 or to this central pivot on the 5 minute. So I was very I knew it was gonna be wild. So when we tested this daily level here and rejected it, I saw the ticker move and push the price down at this moment. So that was the perfect moment for an entry with a stop loss here. And I missed it because I wanted to follow the playbook strictly and wait for the 5 minutes. But you can see that on the 5 minutes, down here, the entry is too far from the R3 level. So I avoided the entry completely. Sometimes you can make an entry if it goes to R2 and retests, but I just avoided it completely. And you can see here, let's see, no, that's a VWAP. So after that, I started looking for trades to take. Twitter was strong, and it pushed through R3. I don't remember if I missed it, but yeah, I was looking at Apple here, and the R2 level seemed like a good opportunity. Uh, Still no good volume, and we form a doji. So I avoided this entry because it's not part of my playbook. I mean, it can offer a good opportunity for an add-on. Okay, I'm gonna mute the video. I forgot to mute the video. It could have been a good opportunity for a for an ad at R2, but didn't take it. So after that, I watched Twitter just push higher and higher to R4, and because I had Twitter as an inside day, I was very biased, and I made my entry here. I saw large volume, but this is not you're getting a lot of volume at R4. So when you have a lot of volume at R4, usually you have a breakout, even if it's an inside day. What you want to see is a lot of volume on the way down, on the sell-off, or a lot of lack of volume uh, when it tries to push up. So here is the opposite. Here we have volume, and what my interpretation here was that this doji, this amount of volume, was a reversal. But that was a mistake on my part because it's been some time since I focus a lot on BPA, and that amount of volume is not enough. Is not a anomaly yet. This amount of volume is it's a continuation, and it depends of where we started to get the volume, if at the bottom or at the top. So so I so on this doji, I believe it was a reversal, but this is not the kind of setup that I take. I don't take it's called pierce and fail reversals, because you pierce. um no, this is not it, this is just a reversal based on volume. I don't even have a playbook developed for that. So I should have avoided that trade, especially because we were pushing through R4 with a lot of volume. If we were not getting any volume whatsoever, and we were started to break down, an entry after we break down from R4, or after respecting a level, could have been the best. But anyways, I made my entry here and got stopped out. Um, and you can see I was not waiting at the break of the 5 minute. The 5 minute is very bullish. You can see here that we broke down from this small channel, which is a gray area. So usually the pivot points are not really doing much here. Um, the only play that you can do when the pivots don't match as well here is play a reversal after it pushes up above R4. That's the only play that you can do. That's the only thing I have on my playbook that I'm working to add on my playbook. So so that's the only trade that I can take. And I almost got out here because I saw that this draw up here didn't have any volume, but I wanted to respect my trade, so I didn't get out. And you can see I got stopped out. I'm gonna push forward. So that's my first loss. And what happened here is that I failed to get back, and I failed to get back in track into doing things right. Like the same thing that happened on Thursday. On Thursday I took two bad trades, but then managed to regroup myself and take two excellent trades. Two excellent trades that brought over $140 after a loss of 50. So that was a very good day. But then today I couldn't do the same. Today this messed me up too much. I didn't had a good morning routine. So I'm thinking maybe I start my morning recording the entire preparation so that I can have a little more accountability. But that's something I'm not talk in the weekly journal, because something has to change to make sure that I'm also strict in the mornings. Um, so this is a more detailed review. It's very different from other days because I'm not just skimming over every trade. So this price action, here is probably some argument as to why I should go in. We did have stacks down at the level 2, but timing and volume is very important. So I saw some weakness here, and we have some sells on the level 2, medium size and large size. So this is a very weak signal. So it was very endearing for me to go in. But the problem here is that on the 5 minutes, you are just starting to pull back, and you don't go short on a pullback. You go short in a reversal. So you have to wait for the channel to settle. So here's what I did. So this is to drag people short in. We have some volume, but it's not a lot of volume quite yet. So, and I made my entry here. I fell for the trap, for the psychological trap. And I place a stupid stop loss. Why is it stupid? Because it's below an important level. It's even below the 9 moving average. So this is a desperate attempt at making money. And I here's the biggest mistake. Because I place a stupid stop loss. Now I don't want to accept the loss and I remove it. I remove my stop loss. And I let the stock run to the level because I know it's gonna go run to that level, and this is where I should have placed my stop loss a little bit above R4 if I was thinking of making such an entry after having the setup on the 5 minute. But this is not even having the good setup on the 5 minute. But I'm gonna speed forward, and once we drop to this level, I place my stop loss where it should be back once again. But honestly, I should have gotten out here because the setup is not correct. It's kind of forming it right now. You can see the formation of a channel, but you have to have a breakout. And here, I saw it run, so I was very relieved. But it was but I didn't get out because oh yeah, I got out here at break even. Okay, so I didn't wait for it. So I moved my stop loss to break even. So I got out, and at this point, like, I'm a mess emotionally because this teased me a lot, and I let it affect me, and you can see that you're barely starting to have a formation for a good entry. So if you're playing a reversal of R4, this could be a good place to take it, with a stop loss at 49.10, above 49.10, because now you have the 5-minute candle close below R4. So we'll see what happens. We see we don't have a lot of volume, so that's a good signal, and we have stacks on the level 2, but it's still pushing up and regaining the 9 and 20. So maybe you wait. So I went around, looked for Apple. I looked at Apple, which reminded me of my loss. And then you can see here that, okay, so this setup is still going to take a little longer. And here I spent some time just trying to fix some settings to make it clear to see the level 2. Because I kind of realized that, you know what, I'm not using these signals as much as I should have, as much as I should. But that's just fixing some signals, and you can see Twitter, it's kind of strong, and it pushes up higher, and that's fine. I did a good job of staying away from this short, and you have volume. Now this is very important volume. Here you're starting to throw some hammers with important volume. But I look away to Apple, and there is no point in looking at Apple. You can see I'm shaking because oh no, you cannot see it. But if you see my expression, and you can see my shoulder moving because I'm moving my leg, and the reason I'm moving my leg is because I'm a little bit like stressed, anxious. So I'm looking at Apple that does which does nothing, and here is where you can make that kind of reversal based on volume and based on the candle. This is a good reversal. You can make an entry here on the 1 minute candle, but again, this is something that I learned in a book through presentations, but it's not something that I have worked on to establish for myself. So I really shouldn't be trading. That's the problem when you learn a lot of strategies and you gloss over them, and then but you don't test them. They're in the back of your head, and you think that it will be a good opportunity to test it. But at this point, I'm not testing that. I'm testing my playbook, which includes shorts at R3, longs at S3 for inside days, and breakouts from R4 to the top side or from S4 to the downside. So it's those are moves for $1 move to $1.50, $2 moves, but this is not. But this kind of reversals is a different thing, and I don't have a playbook for that. I haven't added that to my playbook, but this is where the entry should have been, and I think I realized that, and I start to feel fear of missing out. Here we have a dojo in the 5 minute, and I'm really angry here because if we had formed a nice dojo in the 5 minute, and then we had the moving averages curl down, it would have been a really good entry. It could have been a good entry. But I missed my entry here, and it didn't set up nicely to make an entry at the crossover of the moving averages. So I missed that, and now it's pulling back at R4, and I make my entry here after this extension. So a reversal from R4. It should have been much better to wait for the formation of another channel like this. Here we push a little higher to bait in some longs, and then here is where they drop the shares on the 1 minute, where I'm circling my mouse. This is where they drop the shares, and this is where I could have made my entry short. You can see the difference in volume after this doji. It's actually hold on. It's actually similar volume. This is a little more volume. And it's more isolated, and it's after a run up. So this was a clearer signal. You have a lot of candles with a lot of volume, and all of them are struggling and are coming down. So I make my entry here, a stupid entry with a 10 cent or 7 cent stop loss, and of course that's even smaller than these two doji candles. So of course I get stopped out, done in a lot of anticipation, and then it comes back down. So this trade here, it put me at max loss for the day. Here I got out a break even. This is one max loss trade. So I am at -2R here, and I see it come down. So on the 1 minute, all of this is noise, and the stock is just trying to settle, but it can bait you psychologically because you think it's gonna run without you. But I don't even have a clear volume signal, and I place a stupidly close stop loss because I'm just that arrogant that I think the stock is gonna go down. And you can see some of the stacks here. So we have stacks, but what we don't have is a timing. And what do I do here? I remove my stop loss, and that's the end of my day. That's a stupid thing because the stock just is consolidating within a fairly big range, and at this point I just give up, and I'm at a loss of double because of the size. I just have a much bigger loss than my daily allowed loss. And you can see here it's just consolidating. Like I just lost my patience, and I ended the day here. But if you look at a chart for this day, this stock actually just consolidated and dropped. It actually dropped, but my timing was off, and my timing was off for emotional reasons. So I could have traded R3 as well, but I was just so hyper focused, on my losses on this stock that I missed other opportunities. I had tunnel vision. So that's disappointing. And none of these trades, I took 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. None of those trades meet any criteria. They were so bad that um, I cannot add them because it's just gonna waste space. It's not. It's not even close to being a valid trade. I broke all the rules, so I'm very big loss for this day. I was 135, so 135 it's like 3, 4, like 5 hour. So a 5.3 hour. So that is very disappointing. What I learned this day uh, was that I'm confusing my ability to read the direction of the market to I'm confusing that ability, and I think having that ability means that I also know that it's time to make the entry. So just because you see information that tells you the direction of the stock, for example, like the level 2, and once we have that map that tells me this is the top and this is the bottom, and now that we are at the top and that I understand that it is time to return to value, that doesn't mean it's gonna happen when I make my entry. It doesn't mean it happens immediately. So if we find ourselves at the top or at the bottom, and we know we have to return to the value, which means it's the middle or they run all the way to the other extreme, the stock can wait here in this edge. If we're at the top, like Twitter did, we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, more than 10 5-minute candles. So that's 50 minutes. We spent an hour at this extreme, the place where I know I have to take the short because we're not really pushing more than that. We have an inside day, so the pivot points are wide, and we're not gonna really break out from those pivots. But that doesn't mean that I have to make the entry as soon as possible. Or if I do, you have to make sure to have a very wide stop. But having a very wide stop doesn't give you a lot of return, and you just have to wait for a long time for it to work, and sometimes you never get to your targets. So those two things are different: the timing of your entry and the understanding of where you are and where the direction is gonna go next. Timing is very important, and timing can only be understood by looking at the volume, by looking at the candles with volume price analysis. That's what it is. So those signals are gonna be thrown with volume, and I messed up here because my understanding of volume was not good enough at that time. Maybe because of my emotions, or maybe because I needed to study again the theory. So that's what I did, and then so that's the first thing that I learned, that I need to understand that there is two aspects to this: the understanding of the direction and where we are, and the timing of your entry, because you want to make that entry when it's time to drop, not just anywhere, because you not just at any time, because you can get stopped out even if you can predict the direction of the market. You don't want to trade without a stop because you can always be wrong. So that's the disappointing part. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing is that I might have a lot of arrogance, and the giveaway is me removing my stop loss. I want to make money. And that's not good. So that's something that has to be addressed for next trading session and for next week. So those are the things I learned. I had good I had a good understanding of where we were on this talk on Twitter. I had a good understanding of the direction that it was gonna go, but the timings. So I think that's enough for the daily review. There is more that I want to talk about, but I need to. I'm gonna put it in the weekly journaling because that's gonna be very important, and it's gonna address what I need to do for next week.